Parashat Vayikra. Parashat Vayikra starts with the lining up to us all the list of the whole array of korbanot. Korbanot are sacrifices that they brought in the Mizbeach, and it's divided really into two. This whole segment is divided really into two. In one segment we have, one part, we have korbanot, sacrifice that comes from living animals. And then on the other hand, we have korbanot that come from plants, from yatzomeach, something that grows. And the name of sacrifice that comes from plants and so on and so forth is called
Mincha.
Mincha. It's called mincha, not the tefillah, mincha. There's another division in the korbanot themselves, is to obligatory korbanot and korbanot in which we give nedava for. In the group of korban nedava, which is volunteering, call it this way, but it's really charity or whatever it is you want to give, you volunteer to give, is also divided into two. I mean, maybe you can make like a flow chart into that. So of course you have the rich people who bring very fancy korbanot, right? And then they have the poor people which bring very cheap korbanot. The expensive korbanot are of the rich people. Of course, these are the bull vines, the big bulls that they bring, and the rams, and so on and so forth. And the cheap korbanot for the poor people are the pigeons that they bring, the tor, the pigeons, and again the mincha, which comes from the plant. So after you will make this flow chart of this korbanot, let's look at something that we usually don't really look at, but maybe we look at it this way, and that's the korban that's called mincha. We always deal with the big one, the egel, chagiga, the this, the that. Let's talk about korbanot mincha. Now, chachamim, being chachamim, were extremely sensitive and paid great attention to details, especially when it's in linguistic details, which can teach us a lot beyond the actual process of korbanot. So chachamim pay attention to the following fact. On korbanot that come from the chai, from the living animals, it says, Adam ki yakriv. A person should bring sacrifice. Yakriv, let's not get into korban. And regarding the menachot, it says something else. It says nefesh ki takriv. And of course, why is that? Why is there a difference? Why does it say Adam ki yakriv and nefesh ki takriv? So on that, Chachamim said in Yalkut Shimoni in Vayikra Bet, it says the following: Ma nishtana lo alayla hazeh. Ma nishtana mincha shenehemar banefesh. What's so different regarding the korban mincha that it said nefesh, a soul, not a person, Adam? Of course, we always know that the word Adam represents a certain stature of people and so on and so on. But here, why is it difference? So the Yalkut Shimoni says, Amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu, God said, Mi darko le'avi mincha. Who is the one who brings the korban mincha? Ani, a poor person. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, Me'aleh ani lefanav. As far as I'm concerned, God says, Ki'ilu hikriv nafsho lefanai. As far as I'm concerned, God says, when the ani brings me the korban mincha, is like he bring me his soul. That's why it's called nefesh ki takriv. So of course we could read those things and in a more general way and so on and so forth, right? The ani, the poor person, brings from spends his money to bring his mincha, right? So more than the rich person brings the korban, which is an expensive korban, bull vine, costs a few $1,000s, right? So that's what the ani brings. However, we can really read things a little different, and maybe in more an existential way. There's something that we could learn as well that maybe would even fit our days today. And of course, the whole limud of the Torah, besides the understanding of what the pasuk said, and who said to what, and what said to who, and where does it say, and so on and so forth, the continuous learning of the Torah is a continuous learning that applies to us today. Now let's see how that maybe relates to our days today, because we don't have the concept of korbanot. We don't have a mizbeach. We don't have an altar to bring the korbanot. We don't have a mikdash to do so. So of course we cannot say that those things are obsolete. But if they don't exist in a physical matter, at least the essence exists in a spiritual matter. And let's see, how does this relate to us today? So the simple mincha comes to express a certain internal layer in our existence. It's not the expensive external merchandise. It's not your Merc or your BMW 750 gray, but it's rather the soul, the neshama. And naturally to us, a person that will bring the korban mincha, we're gonna make fun of the person. Say, hey, you bring me some solid mincha belula b'shemen. That's what you bring me. Why are you bringing pigeons? Look at what I brought. I brought here those big Koba meat Japanese bovine with ripped muscle like this that cost tens of thousands of dollars. Right? It's always like that. But on that, Chachamim said in Midrash Rabbah a story. Maaseh be'isha she'ivia kometz solet. It's a story about a woman who brought a handful of farina, solet. Ve'aya kohen mevazeh alea. The kohen used to make fun of her. Ve'amar, re'u ma'im makrivot. Look what they're bringing. Ma bezeh le'echol. What are we going to eat from this? I like the kebab, I like the zroa here, I like this. When a guy brings over there, by the way, I went to buy meat there today, very nice. Very, very nice. I can tell you, I could recommend that. Really nice. So I want the zroa, the lechi, the cheek, the front leg, that's what I eat, You know how much alafa today is expensive. So what are you going to bring me? You're going to eat like, grits? I don't want to eat that, right? So he said, that's what she's going to bring as a sacrifice. That's something for me to eat. That's what we're going to bring as a sacrifice. So this Kohen fell asleep at night. And he had a dream. And in the dream they said to him, Al tevazeh alea. Don't disgrace her. This woman who brought the farina. Why? Ki ilu nafsha hekriva. It is like she sacrificed her neshama. And it's amazing. I'll tell you a story. We were collecting money for Ma'ot Chitim. So I brought this to the rabbi in the neighborhood that distributes the money. And he told me a story about this guy. He says, for years he was really under the red zone. This year, for Purim, he gave him $36. He says, with such joy. So the rabbi said to him, are you okay even to give that? So he says, Rabbi, you have no idea how happy I am that I finally, after these years, can give something. So for him, the $36 that he gave was like, he gave it with all his heart. So here also, this lady brought the farina, but that's like, in the eyes of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, it is like she brought her soul. And that, the Korban Mincha brings us back to the in a way to the roots, the foundation of our cultures. In Judaic sources, right, we have the famous The famous story in Sefer Bereshit about Hevel and Cain. It says, Vayi Hevel roe Etzion. Hevel was, or Abel, was a shepherd. Cain haya oved adama. Cain, not citizen Cain, right? Cain haya oved adama. Says the Torah, V'yi miketz yamim. And after a few days, Vayave Cain mipri adama, mincha leHashem. Cain brought mincha leHashem from the fruits of the ground. Vehevel hivi gam hu mibechorot sono michalvehen. He brought from the firstborn and the nicest ones. Vayisha Hashem el Hevel ve'en minchato. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu preferred Hevel in his offering, ve'en minchato. Ve'el Cain ve'en minchato lo sha. And he didn't accept the offering of Cain. Hevel brought the firstborn of his sheep. He brought the best of the best. Cain brought. He just brought. Take something. Take it. That's not good enough to bring. That's not good enough. What's important is what determines the value of your offering, of your giving, is your awareness and the emotion that comes along with that. And that's why I keep telling you all the time. You could be doing all the mitzvot in the world, not miss one mitzvah. But if your attitude is bad, listen, I'm not God, but I would tell you it's like you didn't do it. Who are you doing a favor? You're doing God a favor, you're putting tefillin on. You're putting God a favor, you're saying a bracha. You keep Shabbat. You don't understand. HaKadosh Baruch Hu created this whole system of mitzvot for us to be able to better interact with Him. For us to feel like we're giving something. We dedicate it to you. Imagine you have a person who's marrying this girl. She is a multi-billionaire. Sarah Bitcoin, I don't know, whatever his name is. And the husband is poor, he doesn't have money. So he bought her a little ring and she cherishes because he really gave it from all the heart. Meanwhile, another guy will get here, hello, Esmeralda, here, take. I bought you a ring, take it. It's the attitude. My mother always said, even if you have nothing, always bring something. It's not what you bring, it's how you bring, from where you bring it. The same thing goes here to our Asiyat HaMitzvot. So, if we understand the mincha appropriately, the mincha takes us really to the foundation of our human interaction with each other and the human interaction that we have with Ribono Shalom, with God. It will bring us to the simple, to the cheap, to the first, not the extravagant and bombastic. I remember there was a shul in my neighborhood. It was a house that they turned into a shul. I thought that this place lives on miracles. The wiring, oh my goodness. I mean, I don't know who did the wiring for this place. It's a catastrophe. I was afraid to touch the wood, I'm going to get zapped. You have no idea. But it was so pure. The tefillah there was pure. When people prayed there, their faces were glowing. I remember one time I entered there Friday night. I was davening at the time with Rabbi Ben Chaim because he was a neighbor. So I had to go there Friday night for Kabbalat Shabbat. I opened the door and I looked at the people. I was like, with my mouth open. I am not telling you stories. I saw light coming from the faces of the people. It was unbelievable for me. The place was a mess. There were panelings here, paneling, there. But the tefillah was so beautiful. And I used to pray in this place many times, for years. Then they decided that they're building a place. And they knocked it down, and they built this ginormous building, beautiful building, across the street from where your dad is. I went there maybe 5 times. I couldn't daven there. I felt like I'm choking. The place is gorgeous, but the people themselves looked like they're turned off. There was no emotion. There was no light. There was complete emptiness. Habor rek ve'en bo mayim. And so is many places. I'm sure you could relate to it as well. Not always bigger is better. Maybe besides a V8 engine, but but that's about it. We want the initial, the most basic thing. The beauty is in simplicity. We don't need to bring the stones from Jerusalem to build shuls. I tell you the truth. I feel very uncomfortable with it. Taking stones from the Holy Land and bring them here. What did the stones did bad for you? It's not about what stones you're going to build. Your shul. It's how much yearning in your heart to whom you're praying. It comes from the heart. We are investing in the wrong things. The same thing in people's houses. People think that they'll be better if they build a big house. The size, the big, should be in your heart, not in your walls. I remember when I was a kid, my parents, my sister and I, we had a small apartment, 47 square meters.
410 square feet.
It's pretty small.
450?
410.
Was it a studio?
Yeah, 4, yeah.
There's a studio in Bushwood.
And let me tell you, we were so happy. There was so much joy in the house. We always had people. I remember people used to come from my father's friends from the army. My father, Alav Shalom, used to come 1 o'clock in the morning. Always people coming, joy, simcha. My cousins, when their father died, they used to come to us every Chag. We used to sleep on the floor. Oh, it's beautiful. Never felt small. But when we made the house bigger, yes, the house got bigger. But the neshama went out of the house. It's not about size, regardless of what you guys think. It's about the emotion. The size has to be the size of your neshama. You should have a big heart, room for everybody. You could have a big house with 5,000 square feet and would never see a person coming into your house. You could have a shul that is ginormous and nobody goes there, and whoever is there wants to just leave. And yet you can have a place, a basement that is packed with and we know that from Beit HaMikdash. Le'olam lo amar adam tzar alay hamakom. A person never said in the Temple Mount, hey, listen, it's too crowded here, I'm not coming here next year. Because we were in a different state of being. When your heart is big, you see that there's room for everybody in your heart. And therefore everybody is welcome. And when you do the mitzvot, when you do something, why do you do it? Did you ever examine why and how you do things? Did you ask yourself, why do I do this? Do I do it just so I can finish? How many times I said, Yonatan, how many times we said, do you eat? And I asked you this. Do you make a bracha so you can eat? Or do you eat so you can make a bracha? It's the same two actions, but with heaven and earth in between them. So that initial, basic, simple attitude cannot be something, some kind of like a technical trick or something like that. We need to have emotion. We need to have intent and emotion to it. The Navi Malachi said something. Malachi was the last of the Trei Asar. He said something that it's always hard for me to read it. I mean, it really, it's very hard for me to read it. He gave a tremendous prophecy on the way the Jewish people are going to disgrace themselves later on. And by the way, we know that. Vayashmen Yereshurun Vayivat. Yeshurun and Am Yisrael, they became fat and they kicked God. Things were too good for them. That's why when things are hard for you, that's good. HaKadosh Baruch Hu made it good so it'll be hard for the Jews. Because if the Jews get too comfortable, they forget about God. Think about it. And what do we want? It's crazy. But we all want comfort. We don't want hardship. So he said the following: Ben yechabed av ve'eved adonav. A son would respect his father, and a slave his master. Ve'im av ani, and if I am a father, HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, ayeh kevodi, where's my honor? Ve'im adonim ani, and if I'm their master, ayeh morai, where's my awe? If I'm your master. And that's Hashem Tzevakot said to you. HaKohanim, the priest, bozeh shemi, those who disgrace my name. Ve'amartem, and then you would say, b'meh bizinu shemecha, what did we do to disgrace your name? And then he says, magishim al mizbachi lechem megoal. You make an offering of disgraced bread on my altar. Ve'amartem, and then you would say, b'megel nucha, what do we do to disgrace you? And he says, be'omrechem shulchan Hashem nivzehu. The table of Hashem is a disgrace. V'tigeshun od lisboach en ra, and you will do more. V'chitagishu pesach v'chala en ra, you're going to bring that offering, there's no bad. הקריבו נא לפתחך, הירצך, או היעשה פניך, אמר השם צבקות. You think הקדוש ברוך הוא wants this? ואתה, חלו נא פניי ואל יכונו מידכם הייתה זאת. You should know, you did this to yourselves in a way. היש מכם פנים? הישא מכם פנים? Anybody cares about the way you do things? אמר השם, מי גם בכם ויסגור דלתיים, ולא תאירו מזבחי חינם. אין לי חפץ בכם. I don't want anything to do with you. ומנחה לא ארצה מידכם. I don't want the offering from your hand. כי ממזרח שמש ועד מבאו גדול שמי בגויים. My name is greater than that. My name is greater than the distance between east and west. ומכל מקום מוכתר מוגש לשמי. And everything is done to the sake of my name. ומנחה טהורה כי גדול שמי בגויים. And it's going to be a pure offering because my name is sanctified in the nations. אמר Hashem. Look over there. Look at Malachi Aleph. It's amazing. Everything was disgraced. Even the korbanot of behema, even the korbanot of the mincha that it says, everything was disgraced. And it's a very short sefer, and it is a very important one. So the Navi is questioning, how should we build again the altar of Hashem and the stature of the Kohanim? the Kohanim went down, they disgraced themselves. And he offers something that is fantastic. And you know me, it's all about Torah, but I didn't say it. The prophet said that. And he offers the Kohanim the following. He offers them to concentrate in teaching and guiding the people. Remember, I've been talking to you a lot about teaching and guiding. They were supposed to be the teachers, the guides. They're supposed to learn all they know. Because he says, Ki siftei kohen yishmaru da'at. The lips of the kohen, of the priest, will guard knowledge. V'torah yevakshu mipiu. And they should go learn Torah from him. Why? Ki malach Hashem tzevakotu. He's an angel of God. And at the end he says, Vayeshev metzaref umeta'er chasef v'tiyer et bnei Levi v'zikek otam kazahav v'chachasef v'ayu leHashem magishem mincha b'tzdaka v'areva leHashem minchat Yehuda v'Yerushalayim ki me'olam ucheshanim kadmoniyot. Just like the korbanot that Noach brought, that's how it's going to be. Fix yourself, guide the people. You see in a way, and this prophecy for me is amazing. Amazing. Do you know why it's amazing? I'll tell you why. It describes to me the transformation that the Jewish nation had gone through from the Second Temple to the time of Rabban Gamliel and Yochanan ben Zakkai in Kerem Beyavne. How the Torah became, in a way, the substitute or the focal point of the Jewish nation. And that's what we should go after. We should guide the people. And the opportunity is for you now, but the obligation is yours now. You are here now, and it's up to you to become those priests. And people always make fun of people who learn in Kollel, the Kollel, the free, that's nonsense. Whoever said that should come to me, I'll give him one like that, and then another one like this. Those people who sit down and learn in Kollel are the priests of today. They are the clay kodesh, the holy vessels, the people who learn in Kollel today and give up their lives. Listen, these guys are smart. Those guys have brains. Those guys could become the biggest out there, whatever that they'll do. And they decide to take their sechel, their intellect, and direct it into a holy place. They are like vessels in Bet HaMikdash, and we call them a Kli Kodesh. He becomes a holy vessel. And you dare to talk about them? Shame on you. He became a holy vessel. And it says in the parasha, Vayikra el Moshe vayedaber Hashem elav me'oel moed lemor. And Hashem called Moshe and he says, דבר אל בני ישראל ואמרת אליהם, אדם כי יקריב מכם קורבן להשם, מן הבהמה, מן הבקר ומן הצאן, תקריבו את קורבנכם. The question is, מה זה מכם? So, the Ibn Ezra claims that that's the way they write in the Torah. That's the linguistic way to write in the Torah. And many other go into this trend of the Ibn Ezra. And the Ramban write it also. The Ramban writes, שיהיה הכתוב הזה, אדם מכם כי יקריב מן הבהמה קורבן להשם מן הבקר ומן הצאן תקריבו, and so on and so forth. That's how they write it. It's a linguistic, grammatic thing. So the two options that we see that come from the Ibn Ezra, they're really more or less the same thing. And both of them are based on the word mikem, refers to the action of yakriv. Mikem, yakriv, which is right after that. However, in terms of the meaning, it's a little bit different. According to the first one, mikem represents the obligation that the korban is going to be in the financial ownership of the makriv, the person who brings it. And according to the second opinion, there is a remez, right, to exclude the gezel from that, which is good. However, the Sforno explains it a little bit different. The Sforno explains the word mikem as a reference to the poal yakriv, which is close to it, but in a complete different meaning. And he writes the following. Adam ki yakriv michem, a person should sacrifice from you. Ki yakriv me'atzmechem, you could sacrifice from yourself. Dvarim ve'achnaa, you need to surrender your heart. On what? Al derech u'neshalma parim sefatenu. Remember what we said beforehand. U'neshalma parim sefatenu, I would have to pay I won't call it lip service because it sounds bad, but I will have to substitute the korbanot with something I would say with my lips. And look at Hosea. Hosea Yudalet, also a fantastic sefer. Nobody reads for whatever reason. Nobody reads Tanakh, which is terrible. It says, Zivchei Elokim, Ruach Nishbera. That's it says in Tehillim. The Zevach of Hashem is when you bring, because remember we said about the Mincha, that in the eyes of the Kadosh Baruch Hu is not what you bring, is how you bring. So therefore, when you work on yourself, when you are not arrogant, when you're willing to work and to listen to Divrei Chachamim, when you're willing to work on yourself, when you care, when you give from yourself, in the eyes of Ribbono Shel Olam, that is a mincha, korban mincha. HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't like shishlik. He doesn't like kebab. What do you think? God likes meat? God doesn't need that. But He needs your heart. That's the mikdash that we do in your heart. And when we say, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you think HaKadosh Baruch Hu likes fat, ksilim, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu also don't want the achelev al ksalim, right? But He also doesn't want the ksilim, the fools. People think that, I'll bring HaKadosh Baruch Hu a big bull, that's wonderful. I'll build HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I'll build Bet HaKnesset, but I myself going to, eat nevelot utrefot. I build HaKadosh Baruch Hu a big shul, right? But me myself be mechalel Shabbat. Why do you think God needs that? Melo kol haaretz kvodo, He dwells in the heavens. He doesn't need the house that you build for Him. He wants you to fix your heart, to fix your neshama. And that's what Chazal said already in the Safra, and it says in Yerushalmi, you can look at it, in Yerushalmi Shkalim Aleph, and over there Daled, it says the following: Mikem velo kulchem, from you and not all of you, leotzi et hamumar, to remove the heretic. Mikem velo bichlal, ad velo bichlal, mikem velo mikulchem, not from all of you. You think that you're going to get your ticket to Olam Haba just because you're going to show up there? No, you gotta get your key here. You gotta get your ticket here. And that is going to be only when you learn Torah. Do you know why? Because if you learn Torah, you hear things that you don't like to hear, but you should hear. And these are the people you need to go to and listen to. Those who tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. You're not going to find it doing, shopping with your wife in Costco. You're not going to find it, going to anywhere. You need to come here and learn. Fix your neshama here. For the sake of yourself, for the sake of your family, your wife, your children, for the sake of Am Yisrael, you need to fix yourself, and that's what we need to understand. So according to the Sforno, the word, the kavanah, the intent of mikem, is to tell us that the sacrifice, the korban that we bring, needs to be an action with a meaning, with a very deep internal meaning. It's not an external mechanical action of me taking the bull or me taking the ram and bringing it over. It is internal, pnimi. Because it says, and I'm quoting, En chafetz beksilim hamakrivim bilti achnaa kodemet. I don't need you to bring that sacrifice without you cleaning yourself as well. People thought, I did an avera, I did a sin. That's okay, I'll get a goat. I did a bigger sin, I get a cow, that will do it. Kadosh Baruch Hu doesn't want this. The whole thing is to understand that it's all avodah pnimit. HaKadosh Baruch Hu said to us, guys, you don't understand that? Not a problem. We'll take care of it. Take away Bet HaMikdash. And until you're going to fix this, and until we are going to fix this, we are not going to have the zchut to build and to see the Bet HaMikdash. Because if that is the reason why it was taken away from us, we're not going to get it until we fix it. It's like a father that gave his son, not a telephone by the way, he gave his son an allowance. Now all of a sudden, smells his clothes, smells like smoke. So the father says, you smoking? No, but what's the smoke? Finally he caught him smoking, and can you turn off the phone please? So, he says, you know what, no more allowance for you. No more allowance. I give you money so you can buy books, you can be intelligent, and you spend it on cigarettes? No allowance for you. So, after a while, the son comes to the father and says, can I have some allowance back? The father said, you stop smoking? When you stop smoking, when you fix the damage, when you do what you need to do, then we'll give it back to you. Until this point, the answer is no. Did we internalize this, or we keep building external things? They say that in the olden days, the etrogim were not so special. Nothing was so luxurious as there is today. Today, the menorot that we have for Hanukkah are ginormous. From silver, they're huge. The cups are like the Holy Grail, gigantic. Back then, everything was small. So somebody once told me, this Chassid once told me, he says to me, they gave the mitzvot, the neshama, and we are giving, Rahman al-Islam, we're just giving them the body. We should go back and give the mitzvot that we do in neshama. It's not if you put tefillin on your head, and that's what I keep saying. Some people ask me, how come you don't put tefillin shel Rabbeinu Tam? I said, leave the gra to the side, what the gra said. I'm going to tell you this. I would rather put all my life, I wish one time in my life, I'll have the zchut to put tefillin lefi kol ha-mitzvot haklulot ba vekol ha-kavanot hatluyot ba. To be mekayem mitzvah tefillin kadin vekahalacha, than to put two tefillin and to have the wrong kavanah and two tefillin. We have to give the mitzvot the meaning. You need to run to Elem Ratzim ve'anu Ratzim. They are running and we are running. They are running to overlanding and we're coming to overtime in the yeshiva. No, we don't run at the yeshiva. We run into the yeshiva with a mask on. Unless you got a shot, of course. That sacrifice that we're bringing need to be from the atzmo shel adam, from him himself. He doesn't need to bring something external. You need to give something from yourself, from internally, from your neshama. And that action should come and indicate to us a certain process of internal change, that you change. And again, the whole purpose of the Torah is to help you change, to become a better person. So that's why when a person brings the korban, he needs to do the vidui. He needs to say, Chatati, Aviti, Pashati. And that shows a certain level of humbleness and surrendering to Hashem and accepting HaKadosh Baruch Hu and asking for forgiveness. And according to that, we could understand what the Sforno brought also, the deep machshava of Chazal, that shows the word mikem, they say it as a miut, mikem velo mikulchem, from few of you, but not from all of you. And that's why he said, lotzi tamumah, to accept the person, because the word mikem means from you. I want it from you, from mi'atzmechem, from each and every one of you internally. And that's why it's very clear why Chazal saw this word as being mema'et, and dafka demumar, because the Kadosh Baruch Hu does not want him. So you don't believe me? I don't need you here. You desecrate my Shabbat. You don't keep my. You eat nevelot v'trefot, right? I don't need your shuls. I don't need your temples. I don't need that. I need you. If that's not important to you, what you give me is not important either. So therefore, by the person like this, the thing that he does is external. It's so extravagant. That's why he needs to build this big shul. He needs to build this super fancy thing with marble floors and stuff like that. Because he himself is too arrogant to humble himself in front of God. So that's why Kadosh Baruch Hu says, I don't want that. En chafetz b'chsilim ha'makrivim. Kadosh Baruch Hu doesn't want those fools who bring all these things and they think that you can bribe God. God does not take bribery. And that purification of the korban that became bad really brings us to what we call taharat halev, the purity of the heart. The purity of the heart from all those kohanim who did the wrong things in the korbanot, who saw the korbanot as a way for them to get food, not the kavanah of the person. And yet, on the other hand, the giving up on the korbanot and the animals and so on and so forth, which bring us down to the mincha, is just like when things are bad. We always try to go to the beginning, to start again, to start new, cleaner, simpler, pure. And that's what we need to do for Pesach. Rabotai, we're cleaning up for Pesach. To clean for Pesach is no easy job. However, cleaning for Pesach should not mean that you are excluded from learning Torah. And I'm going to ask you to do something, regardless how hard it is for you to clean for Pesach, how difficult it is for you to clean. Don't complain about the cleaning. Take it as an opportunity to become better. Find this place through the hardship of cleaning, and there's going to be a lot of people, and it's going to be expensive. Find that place inside of you that is willing to give from itself, that is willing to give and the truthfulness, and from that point, march towards Rosh Hashanah, which is around the corner. Rosh Hashanah we have Nisan, which is half of Nisan, right? So we have whole Iyar, Sivan, Tammuz, Av. 4 months before we start Ben Adam Alecha Nirdam. 4 months. It goes like this. You remember Chanukah like it was yesterday. Rabotai, clean for Pesach so we can come to Elul with a proper tshuva. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.